Hey y'all, it's Miss A. Today we are looking at our last topic for this unit, which is volume of rectangular prisms. Your test is going to be tomorrow, Thursday, March 25th, so be prepared for that. But the volume lesson that we're learning today hopefully is review. I hope that y'all learned it last year before COVID hit, and so this is a review for y'all. But it's really easy concept, very, very simple. We are only looking at volume of rectangular prisms in 6th grade, rectangular prisms, which are just boxes. So the formula you're going to see on the 6th grade star chart is V equals capital B times H. So capital B doesn't stand for base anymore. Little b stands for base, like we saw in the other the area formulas that we looked at last week. Capital B actually stands for area of the base. Now luckily in 6th grade the base shape is always going to be a rectangle because we're only dealing with rectangular prisms, but when you get into 7th and 8th grade, that capital B is going to be the area of a triangle or the area of a trapezoid, whatever it may be, depending on what type of shapes you're dealing with, because you might have a triangular prism or a pyramid or something else, a cone, that you are using instead of a rectangular prism. So there's getting you used to using that capital B, which could be a couple different formulas. But luckily in 6th grade, like I said, the capital B is the area of the base, which the base is always going to be a rectangle. So we're finding the area of a rectangle for capital B. And then we're multiplying it by H, the height of the prism. Height of the prism. In 5th grade, if you learned volume, you probably learned it as V equals length times width times height. It's the same thing because capital B is going to be replaced with the area of a rectangle, which is length times width or base times height that we learned last week. But it's still multiplying three numbers together. It looks like it's 2, but it's actually 3 when you plug in that formula for B. So let's go into do an example. So we have V equals capital B times H. So capital B is area of the base. So let's find the base. The base is the bottom, what the rectangular prism is sitting on. So if I look at this shape, it's sitting on this rectangle right here, which is a 9 by 7. So I like to draw that base so I can see it as a two-dimensional shape. So I'm just like, if I was looking down at this box over the top, this is the shape I would see. And I would see 9 and 7. Those are the two sides that are on that rectangular base. So I need to find the area of this base. So to find the area of this base, we're going to multiply 9 times 7. So capital B is not just one number. It's the formula for the area of this rectangle, which is 9 times 7. And then we're going to multiply that B by the height of the prism, which is 5. So the number that we didn't use on the rectangle here. So now I'm going to multiply these two together. 9 times 7 is 63. And then I'm going to multiply it by 5. So 63 times 5, we get 15. 30 plus 1 makes 31. So volume equals 315. This was measured in yards. And for area, everything was square yards, or the exponent, or not yards, but squared units. So the exponent was 2. But for volume, the exponent is a 3 because we're multiplying 3 numbers together. So this is cubic. The exponent of 3 is cubed. So this is cubic units instead of square units. On your Google form today, you're going to see cubic like this, and then like yards. It's fine. Alrighty, and then the next one. So V equals capital B times H. So the first thing we need to recognize is what is my base. So my base is my bottom shape right here. There's no numbers on that bottom shape, but this is a rectangular prism. So if this is 10, then this side is 10. That makes this side also 10. If this is 6, then this is 6. That means this has to be 6. So I'm going to cross those off because I just wrote them here. And just like before, I'm going to draw, if I was looking down at this prism from the top view, I'm going to draw that rectangle. So I have 6 and 10. So the first thing I must do to find my capital B is to find the area of that base. So 6 times 10, 6 times 10. And then I'm going to multiply it by the height, which is 3. Not the number on my rectangle that I drew, but the height of the actual prism. So here I get 6 times 10 is 60. I'm going to multiply it by 3 to get my final answer. So V equals 6 times 3 is 18. And then just put a 0 with your number because we multiply by 60, not 6. Just a little shortcut instead of actually writing it out. And then my units were millimeters cubed. So remember, guys, on volume, we're doing basically one thing. We're multiplying the 3 numbers that we see. My 3 numbers were 9, 7, and 5. 9 times 7 times 5. My 3 numbers were 6, 10, and 3. 6 times 10 times 3. We're always multiplying 3 numbers together. All right, and then the last one. The rectangle represents the base of a rectangular prism. So we are dealing with a rectangular prism, a 3D shape, but this right here is just the base. So this is what I drew here and here on these for these 3-dimensional figures here. They just didn't give me a 3D box to look at. They told me we're dealing with the rectangular prism, but we're just going to give you the base or the bottom of that shape. So 8.2 centimeters by 3 centimeters. The height of the prism, so if it were, if you actually were looking at the box, it would be this length right here going up. That is 15 centimeters. What is the volume, not area, we are doing volume, it's a 3D shape, volume of the rectangular prism. So our formula is V equals capital BH. Remember that capital B stands for area of the base, so that's where I need to look here. They gave me my base here. So to find the area of this base, I'm going to multiply 8.2 times 3. 8.2 times 3. And then the height of the prism isn't given to me here. The height of the prism was given to me in the word problem, so 15. All right, so now we're going to multiply to find my area of the base, 8.2 times 3. 8.2 times 3. Remember, you don't have to line up decimals when you multiply. Just line up the numbers. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 8 is 24. And then, because there's one decimal, I could just drag it down, or you can count, there's one, so you have to move it one time. So 24.6. And now we have to multiply it by 15. All right, so 24.6, I'm going to do it up here just so I have a little bit more room. 24.6, multiply that by 15. We get 30. 20 plus 3 makes 23. 10 plus 2 makes 12. Cross those off, put a placeholder. Now by 1, 6, 4, and 2. 0, 9, 6, and 3. And then there's just one decimal, so all I have to do is move it one time to get my volume of 369. I don't need the 0.0, 369 cubic centimeters. Now, one thing I possibly would have done up here, remember we're just multiplying 3 numbers together. You do not have to multiply 6 and 10 first. You could have multiplied 10 times 3 to get 30. 30 times 6 is still going to get you 180. You could have multiplied 7 times 5 to get 35, and then 35 times 9 will still get you 315. Down here, I did it because I had it in parentheses, but if I were you, I would have multiplied the 5 and the 15, the 3 and the 15 first, because 3 times 15 is 45, and then just do 45 times 8.2 and multiply by 1 decimal instead of multiplying by 2 decimals. It wasn't too hard because it was only 1 per problem, but we could have saved a little bit of time with working with decimals. So you could have done 15 times 3, get 45, and then do 45 times 8.2 would have still gotten you the same answer. But anyway, again, volume is multiplying 3 numbers together. Has to be 3 numbers for the volume of a rectangular prism. If y'all have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Y'all got a Google form today with just a couple questions to complete. Y'all have a great day, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.